This video will be the first of a few different videos that will show us basic commands in AutoCAD. And so this video will talk about line, arc, and spline commands. So if we go over to our layer manager, before we start using our different line commands, we want to change the layer to the line drawing so that we're in the correct layer. The first command we'll talk about is line. So you can click on line up here and draw, or you can click L. And it's going to ask you for the first point. And you can see that it wants to cling to this upper right corner. That may be helpful. It also may not be helpful. So if you want to turn that off, you can go down to here, object snap, or F3. You turn that off and see, no, now we're not getting that the automatic corner up there. If we did keep object snap on, if we clicked right here, even though the mouse is down in the middle of the image, it's still going to start a line in the upper corner, which you may want, you may not want. I would imagine you don't want that. So we'll turn object snap off. Again, with our line, we'll click L, type L, and enter. Or again, you can select it from up here. It will give us the same thing. You can type in points, but I prefer to use the mouse. So I'm going to trace this line here right now. So I'm going to click right here and click again. And then if you want to continue making more lines, you can just click the mouse button once to make a new line every time. When you're done, you can click escape and that line will remain there. If for some reason you didn't like a line, you can click and delete as normal. But let's say you want to change the line direction or the length. So you can actually just click on this point and now you can just drag it wherever you want. So that's pretty easy to do. Next, for the arc, so I'm going to get rid of this line right here. Delete. We're going to look at the arc, and I'm going to do an arc following the bottom here of the bridge. So we can click on arc. And if we click on the arrow below the arc, there's quite a few different options. So you can use all sorts of different options, whichever one you prefer. I'm going to use 3 points. So if you have an arc, you can see different points. The 3-point one's pretty easy to use. So what I recommend is think about where you're going to do the arc. Try to find a start point, an end point, and a middle point. So for me, I'm going to start on the left, I'm going to go to the middle, and then end up on the right. So I'm going to click once, and this is specify the second point, so I'm going to specify it right about in the middle, and then I'm going to specify the third point down here. And then you've got this arc. And you can go back and adjust it. You can adjust any of the 3 points, and it will change the shape of the arc. And you can see that it's a pretty good fit. It's not a perfect fit. It's really up to you if you want to use arc, or we're going to use another command called spline next. Also, I'll demonstrate this with using 2 arcs instead of 1. So again, we'll click arc and 3 point. And I'm going to make 2 arcs. So I'm going to start at the left, and I'm going to finish up in the middle. So my new middle arc point is going to be down over here. So I'm going to click, and click, and that is a little bit better fit. Great. So now I'm going to click another arc, and I'm going to turn object snapped back on because I want to be able to connect to this endpoint. I'm going to click the endpoint. Click the middle. I'm going to turn object snap off and zoom in a little bit to make it easier. And I'm zooming and panning with the middle mouse button, and then I'm going to click over here. And you can see how this double arc that we just made has a little bit tighter fit than the single arc. So you may need to break up the edges into separate regions when making an arc. Alright, now I'm going to actually delete these arcs, and I'm going to show you how to do the same thing with a spline. The spline is a neat command because it allows us to get some more interesting curvature, and you may not need to use it, but it's nice to know it's there. So we're going to click on draw, spline fit as opposed to spline CV. So I'll choose spline fit, and basically you just pick the first point of the curved surface that you're interested in drawing, and then you just pick points along that surface, and you can pick them every so often. But it's just going to kind of make a natural arc between each of the points. So this is the last point. Now I'm going to click enter, and we're done. And you see this also has a very good fit as well. And you can go back and adjust these points, but it's going to start to make things kind of funky, because this is not, it's not just an arc, it's you know, a new way of making a curved surface. And what it does is it makes a curve based on each of those points, a curve that's tangent to each of those points. So I think the fit I like is the 3-point arc with the object snap. Great.